There's a lot going on. We need to pay attention to this. We need to be concerned about the efficacy of the elected officials. Many of the best ones who did the work on these things are no longer around, no longer in Congress. Some of them met tragic ends, as you know, here in Minnesota with Paul Wellstone. A lot of the handful of people who really speak out on these things, they get targeted for defeat or what have you, and I don't think it's all a coincidence. Privacy. So we are told that we need to give up our privacy. You've all heard this during the 9/11 period, right? You need to give up your privacy because this is for your safety. Your safety depends on your giving up your privacy. I would say your safety depends on your having some privacy. But polls keep going up and back. Some of them show that people are concerned, but a lot of people say, hey, you know what? Honey, do we need privacy? I mean, they say there are bad guys out there, so okay, let's do it. But I know I worry all the time about this. I get stopped at airports. I've been stopped a couple of times at Kennedy Airport, and they asked me, they said, come with me. You know, and that's kind of chilling when somebody says, would you come with me, please? Ask anybody at Guantanamo who have been there for 10 years, never charged, many of them never did anything. And eventually they'd let me go, and they'd say, they wouldn't tell you what it was. It was interesting. They don't have to tell you why they took you. One guy told me, I guess he took pity on me, and he indicated that there had been some kind of mistaken identity, and I took that to mean that they found somebody named Russ Abu Bakr, and that's who they were looking for. But it is guilt by association, a lot of this stuff. Obviously, if you're active at all, if you're concerned about Guantanamo, potentially you are a terrorist sympathizer. If you're concerned about any of these people, if you feel anybody has been railroaded and law enforcement has already declared them to be problems, then you're a problem. So you see that this thing can really, really grow and really fester. But we see these kinds of problems all over the place where people who may not fit the mainstream, who may be guilty of independent thinking and inquiry, are considered a problem, which raises the question, what constitutes a troublemaker? What is a troublemaker? And is a troublemaker somebody who should be penalized or put in jail? Certainly, if you go back to, in the American history, the same people that all these people who love all these repressive measures tout are these people like Tom Paine. You notice that? They're all there waving their flags on the 4th of July, and they liked all these rebels back then, but they sure don't like them now. And then a guy like Snowden, and they make him the target. And then, you know, if you see our website, you know, the picture of the girlfriend, the pole dancer, and they all wanted to focus on that. And people like George Stephanopoulos giving his guests a hard time and saying, well, don't you think, you know, trying to make them feel guilty, whether it's Julian Assange or civil liberties lawyers, that they're doing something wrong, putting them on the defensive. Some of the other stories are connected and go deeper. The Occupy story, how many of you read that story on our website about the targeting of the Occupy leaders? Yeah. Okay, a few of you. We obtained and published FBI documents showing that there had been a plot to assassinate the leaders of the Occupy movement in a number of cities. And these are FBI documents. They blocked out things, but they left the parts where you can see that the people were going to use high-powered rifles in Houston and several other cities to target them. And we don't know what, if anything, the FBI did about this. There's no indication they took any action. And if any of you are familiar with COINTELPRO and the FBI's targeting of Martin Luther King and other African-American leaders, you know that it's not clear what role they take in these kinds of things.